You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show.
Wait, can you do the intro this time?
Yeah, I always do non-spoilers. Go on.
I'm sorry.
Non-spoilers?
Yeah.
This is non-spoilers. This is the non-spoiler section.
If people have not watched this movie by now, you can say spoilers. It's like a
Yeah,
30-year-old
it's a 30-year-old movie.
It's just the way we break the show.
It's like saying Citizen Kane. Hey, you have maybe not seen it. Well, okay. At this point, we can talk about it.
Didn't we do that once where it's like the movie was so old where it's like, fuck it, we're just going to talk about
don't even
everything.
remember what movie that
The
was.
oldest
though.
movie we've done was the 1964 Olympic Games, I think it was.
Oh, that documentary?
Yeah,
For
the documentary
Tokyo?
that the Japanese government made.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 different versions of it. And we did do spoilers for that because, I don't know, there's... You
Well,
might not have
that's
looked up.
obscure. I mean, this is obviously obscure, too.
Well, hello and welcome to Movie Vaders with the Farx brothers. I'm Kirk.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Nick.
And we're joined by Barry Andersson. I'm going to try to get this right. It's director, producer, DP, and then writer, right?
Yeah.
You've got like a hair just coming off your mouth. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, what did I eat?
Every time I look at... Well, people will find out in the interview that
Yeah,
has yet to occur in our reality. What kinds of things.
And we're talking about overnight delivery. This is the non-spoilers segment.
What prompted you to want to watch this movie? Now I know not to have this debate, but like you were just, hey, I'm gonna watch this movie when we were talking, and I was like, why?
Well, you said that this is a podcast about Midwestern movies.
It's a podcast with Midwestern movie makers where we
Yeah,
all get
not the
debates.
movie had to
Thinking
be
something tied to
Midwestern.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's lots of movies tied to Minnesota. Most of the movies people know. They're probably movies that are at the top of your list, so it's not. So I wanted to go something off the beaten track. So I was trying to think of like kind of that heyday of the 90s of what movies were made here, and there were some that were really bad. And I remembered when I watched this one, I liked things about it, but I hadn't seen it now in probably 25 years. So when you said it, I'm like, oh, let's try that one. Because it'd be interesting to go back and watch something this far back, knowing that it was not, the greatest movie ever made to begin with. But then also in history, when you watch it coming out, then you start to see like, oh, that person was in it. Oh, I liked them, but it didn't work out. It's like it's almost like you're going back to like check your own meter of what you thought at the time, just decades later.
We've had some, even recently, movies like, going back to the 90s doesn't seem like that long ago, but it does seem like a
lot long ago now. It's like 30 years.
It's almost 30 years, but like, I want to try to put this the right way. It feels like there's a cap on how good a movie could be, even though you would probably say most of the best movies were made a while ago. Like when you named the best movies, you said Casablanca and Jaws. And one's the 40s, one's the 70s.
I mean, the last great year of cinema was 2019.
Whoa,
because
okay.
it was before 2020
COVID?
and...
No,
yeah.
it was just last good year of movies. I don't know what has all changed since then.
Wait. You're going to go on this business. I'm not going to allow this one. There were good movies last year. You're saying one battle after another and Sinners wasn't kind of like, oh, that's a great year of movies.
No. That's a great year of movies means that at the end of the year, you have a compilation of movies that you can debate. And if you're like, I got to give an award to one of these, it'll like look back at like 1939 or one of these years where like, boy, any one of those could have won, as opposed to like, hey, there was 2 good movies. I mean, this is an industry that pumps out hundreds of movies.
Right.
You should have enough at the top. Like, I was against moving to 10 nominees for Best Picture. It's like, now it's just like, oh, it doesn't matter.
I was against
Anybody
making them all Hallmark movies.
Well, I've also gotten to the point where I never underestimate who we will nominate and how bad they could be. But that's a different story. But in 2019,
Emilia Perez.
the highest list of the movies was a legitimate who's who heavyweight boxing match of great all-time cinema. Since then, we've not had that level of lineup. Not to say there has never been a good movie made, but like this is like you come back and you're like, well, those 3 are pretty good, but then there's a big drop off where you need to have a truly great year in movies. You got to have the top has to be stacked. You're like, dang, I wouldn't want to pick between those. And I don't think we've had one since 2008.
As a movie review podcaster, in addition to the things Kirk mentioned, what did you do a top 10 last year?
No, we don't do we haven't done top 10s in a while because I can't get 10 movies that I think are worthy
Oh,
of
damn.
at the end of the year.
That's harsh.
I wish I'd done one now for last year because usually I would just rank
Yeah,
every movie I saw on a
used
big
to,
list.
but now it's like literally we'll talk about on podcasts like what movies do we like, and it's like 3 or 4, and it just sounds weird to be like my top 4 movies. It sounds like I didn't watch any movies. You're like, no, there just was not 4 to be warranted. Now I could pick if you told me to rank all the movies and just what are the top 10, but I would have to say like after 2, they're all trash. They're just the best of the trash, and that
because and you feel like you see representative because you're doing a movie a week on your show.
Yeah.
So you're trying to watch, I don't know, like this past weekend there were 4 movies that came out. I've only seen 2 of the movies that came out, and neither of them was the movie that did the best, Worthing Heights.
Yeah.
I have no idea if maybe I'll like it. I don't think it's exactly for me since 75% of the audience was women.
Yeah.
But that's why you should be going there, brother. You
With
know,
a woman, yeah, get a date.
like, hey, you know,
Hey, you want to go?
Jacob Elordi, right here, baby.
Contact the show. Yeah.
I'm never not going to use the show to try and get.
Oh, I didn't know
up,
that was the point of the show.
I mean, I would guesstimate on the average year, I probably see 50 plus movies.
Okay.
So I mean, there will be times where I see a bunch. Then there might be a week. Like sometimes my co-host Mike, he'll give me 4 I need to watch, and I'll be like, I'm behind. Then we just catch up because like my schedule, like I can have 3 months where I'm just like against the wall. Then I'll have 2 months where I got nothing, and so I can watch like 10 movies. So I try to watch a lot in all of them, and I always try because I'm being an AMC list, A-list, I can see stuff. So I don't mind seeing different genres, seeing something that I don't think I'll like because you can learn things from movies. But again, my standard is if you're going to be an all-time great, you got to be at a certain level. And I think the number that crossed that certain threshold, I'm not even sure. I'd have to go back and look at 2019.
Yeah, because I can't recall.
That might have 10 great movies, but I don't even think there's 10
yeah.
great movies, and that was one of the last greatest year.
Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Joker.
The Joker.
I thought Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah. Oh, you were talking about how you thought Matt Damon was. Yeah, Damon. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like Matt Damon.
You don't like Matt Damon, but did you like him in Ford versus Ferrari?
I think that might be one of his top 2 roles of all time.
Okay.
But it's a very straightforward role, but he does it really, really well.
See, Ford versus Ferrari, good movie, good like history lesson. I somehow think F1 is viscerally more it's more movie.
You're looking for a dopamine rush.
Yeah. What do you think the average schmo coming off the street's looking for?
That's not art. That's like saying I can throw a red paint can and it stands out more than a muddied Rembrandt.
No.
They're different things. Because I love Brad Pitt.
You're doing the Martin Scorsese thing.
Awful in F1
Whoa,
because
okay.
he's all over the place. Like in any given scene, I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to be the friendly. I'm going to be the mentor. I'm going to be the deviant. I'm going to be like there was no character there. He was just, and then the younger guy, talk about just vapid. Like he didn't matter at all.
You haven't watched Snowfall, have you?
Oh, was that
Snowfall? No. It's about the CIA getting crack into LA in like the 80s. That's where that guy's from. I've only watched a couple episodes of it because I was watching it with Mrs. Farx.
And I'm not saying he's necessarily a bad actor.
No,
that role was just trash. He just stood there, and I was like,
yeah, thoughts. We should be debating F1.
Ferrari, watching Christian Bale is like he's always good, but like particularly in that movie was a phenomenal character structure because there was movement, there was stubborn, like all the stuff that was there. By the end, it made the ending tragic with what happened. Whereas watching Brad Pitt, it's just like it didn't really matter what happened, whether he won or not. And he's like 187 years old.
It doesn't matter who Tom Cruise is shooting at in Top Gun.
This isn't Top Gun, though.
No, but
I
it's
would
the same
argue
director and the exact same plot. Old guy comes
Top
in,
Gun?
has to do the old ways to save big machine doing stuff.
So then Barry has a point. Maybe it's not a very good movie.
It
It's
might
just
be
like
an
Top
entertaining
Gun.
movie to watch. It's
Yeah.
just not a good movie.
My father-in-law, my Farx father-in-law, as I like to call him, he, I think he liked that experience better than One Battle After Another. Even though, I just want to be very clear here, I understand One Battle After Another is a better movie, and it is also a movie that is more to my taste than F1. There's just something I like about. They made the best AMC Limax movie. If you saw it in because you saw it in Limax, didn't you?
I did, and I thought that the sound was super underwhelming.
Oh my god!
I was like,
Yeah.
I've seen many other movies with sound design that I thought pierced better, and I just thought it wasn't bad, but it was like the way they were talking about it. I'm like, I should feel like I was run over by. I just slapped my.
Yeah.
Everybody's
It wasn't
listening.
too
That
loud.
was me.
Yeah.
I did the thing you're not supposed to. But in watching it, it's like it doesn't. You know, again, I wasn't bought in. I didn't really care what happened because it was set up in such a way. It was a passive watching because it was Hollywood doing Hollywood things, and then they would be like, "I got to attach a real camera to the car," and you're like.
I did think that was cool.
But again, that doesn't make a movie that like, okay, I was entertained for that 4 seconds it was on.
That gave you a feeling. There was a visceral feeling because they got the camera somewhere that you are very unlikely to ever be.
But it's like, from that perspective, we don't, if you've never driven in a car, which none of us have, that's going 240 miles an hour, we have no idea what that's like. So even putting the camera there, it's just like a chaotic, you're not getting the sensation. Like it's just adding eye candy chaos to your brain. Whereas like something like Top Gun, when they have it in, like, even though you're not in the plane, you feel like, holy shit, this just felt like, whoa, it was crazy. And then it's over. You never felt like with that acceleration. I was never in my seat and I never felt like I was going to slam on, like when you're like, when they're going G-forces and whatnot, it somehow elicits a different sensation. And you should, if you're going 270 miles an hour, I should have had more sensation in my seat, in my opinion, in F1, like the same director that did in Top Gun Maverick. He, obviously, the late, great Tony Scott was better in original. We won't get into that. But F1, I just think was, I mean, it's fine to like it. It is just a not well done movie.
It's like the ultimate dad movie, and I feel like I have to argue for that on some level.
I could give you a whole list of really weird like movies that I enjoy that are not good.
Give me one. Give me just one. Other than Overnight Delivery, which was
Overnight Delivery. Well, that's the top 10. No. Let me think about what would be like a good. I mean, I grew up liking things like the Critters movies. I don't know if you guys remember those.
Yeah, was that before or after 10? It will matter when people
10
get
years
their
old.
10.
I
Oh,
don't think I would have been allowed to watch Critters when I was 10, so it had to be after that.
Oh man. And I've been debating like Jaws has come up. I've been debating showing Jaws to my 6-year-old because I feel like it's good and it will viscerally, even though it's an old movie.
It is. Well, that was with my daughter. It was funny because she really wanted to watch Jaws. As a dad, you're like, yeah, I want you to be young enough to have the experience, but I don't want the trauma of watching Jaws that happens to everybody. So you're threading that fine line.
right.
I never had that as a child. I watched it and I was on the swim team. So
Well, I mean, you're probably wired like my daughter is. But I remember she was like 7 years old, and I was like, we got to wait. And then it was a night like today, we were going out on whatchamacallit, Halloween.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
so cold, and I was like, oh, I'll make a deal with you. We can watch Jaws. She's like, no, we're going trick-or-treating. But it was so cold that nobody trick-or-treated.
Damn.
So like we went out and there was like nobody. So I was like, oh. So we went back and watched Jaws, and she loved it, and it was like perfect. And it was like sad that we didn't get her candy, but it was nice that she got to experience Jaws at a good age for her.
How old was that?
I think she was 7.
So I'm close.
It was close.
I'm close.
I think if I would have showed my son Jaws at 7, I don't think it would have went well. So I think you got to kind of judge it on the viewer experience. And
I can tell between the two kids
Yeah.
which one is into what, and they're different.
Yeah. As long as they're ready. I mean, it's just great when you have that visceral reaction. But I mean, that's how to say that Jaws is what, 75? Almost 50 years ago, you still get a reaction. I think 50 years from now, nobody will watch F1.
I don't think F1 is changing cinema in the way that Jaws did, and it's not announcing like, hey, here's a young hot director who is like one of the masters of the craft and will define what this art form that's only existed for 100+ years.
That's the standard we're looking for.
Jaws standard.
You want
significance.
that, but I mean, like even something like for instance, I love the movie National Treasure. It's not a good movie, but I love watching it. It's super fun.
I struggle with this concept of good and bad.
Like, I'm not saying I'm just saying it's not a good movie. Like as an art form piece, that's not saying it's bad. Now there are some movies I will fight for you that are bad, but I'm just saying like it's inherently not. It's got flaws in how it's done, or that it's it doesn't have enough like conflict, or it's not saying it's like there's things that can go in. The best movies have a lot of different things in them, and then there's movies like Frank Capra. Some of his movies are very enjoyable to watch. They leave you happy at the end, and there's not a whole lot of depth there. His best ones layer that the good parts I like with some more depth, and which makes those better movies of his than some of the other ones. So it's just kind of a ranking. I'm not saying that all movies are bad. There's movies that are artfully great, and then there's ones that you can enjoy, but you have to be aware of what those flaws are that make them not appear. Because if we my thing I used to say, when George Lucas, before he came out with the prequels, there was a whole debate of projecting in film versus showing on a projector. And unequivocally across the board, everybody hated projectors. They all liked film. Even if they didn't tell them, it was like off the boards. I don't remember what it was, like 70, 80, 90% of people wanted projected film. And they could never. So George Lucas did the thing, which makes you want to punch him in the face. Because he took away the film projection, showed people the digital projection. Do you like it? Everyone's like, well, yeah, we like it. Because they took away what the better thing was. If you ask people, they're like, yeah, that's fine. So what they're doing now with content is they're making stuff that's fine, and they're taking away the great. And if we ever get rid of the great, then the cultural and impact of this art form disappears. And I think that is something worth dying on a hill for, to say that we need these films. Not to say that these films don't have value because I want to be entertained, turn off my brain, and just enjoy something. But we have to have a standard that we can't let go, or we turn into George Lucas and everything goes.
It at least like establishes like here is the standard, even if only 3 movies out of the year are going to hit it.
Because then people are looking at it, and other directors and storytellers go, oh, that's how you make something great. Like the masters of the Renaissance, you would be carving, and you could make something that probably you could show to your friends and be like, that's great. Then you go to Leonardo da Vinci, and he's like, that's not good enough. And then you would see well, I never thought, you need that tiered system. And I think that right now, especially because we're moving to content where nobody's fighting for that, we're losing that. And I think that's what's making me angry. Is the reason I want to do these is I don't know if I'm ever able to achieve something like that, but I can recognize it when I see it. And that's what, like, when you see that thing come to life I remember when I went to go see Parasite, and by the time I was done watching that movie, it was like, I was changed. You're just like, what did I just, like, it just hit you. And then you watch something, we were talking before this, like The Rip, that means nothing. Like Parasite, where is it in the pantheon of all-time greats? Don't know, but it clears a threshold of like, that's the type of thing. You watch the way the visuals and how and when, the pacing, that is art. And if you can then learn from that, we could still make great movies. But if those sorts of movies go away and all we have is The Rip and F1, then we are in idiocracy. And pretty soon we're going to think that watering plants with battery acid is like clever. And
electrolytes.
Doesn't matter.
All thing. My balls is the show. I'm biting. Go away.
I want to counter with, is overnight delivery art?
No.
Were artists employed by overnight delivery?
Yes.
Was art made in the process of making overnight delivery?
No.
But what about the people who made costumes? What about the people who...
You had people that were getting better at their craft, and there were people that you could identify in the movie that had talent that you're like, hey, on our podcast, sometimes we'll play studio head of, okay, if you had this material, who would you hire to direct? Who would you hire to put in it? So
I would say rewrite the script because it goes on too many deviations.
Well, that's also fair. A lot of times it's like start with a good script, but you can't watch that movie and watch someone like Reese Witherspoon, and even back in the time, you watch her and you're like, that's someone that we could do something with in this not great piece.
You feel like you can see that in her watching this?
Oh yeah, I remember watching Josh Hart's first movie. Can't remember, it was something from here. He was like the boyfriend that didn't get the girl, kind of looked like a farmer's kid, and he just leapt off the screen. And I remember the first time I'm like, he's gonna be a movie star.
What do you
Josh
mean
Hartnett?
by that? Yeah,
The one with, is it with Natalie Portman?
I think so.
Okay.
What-
Something with the heart or
Like,
something.
yeah, it was some.
Or home.
Oh,
It had
you were
home or heart
saying
in
the
it.
name of the movie, something with the heart.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see.
but Josh Hartnett was in it in a small role, and it had Natalie Portman, who was big, but he just like leapt off, and you're like, okay, I don't know how far you can get, but like you can see those things, and everybody needs their path to get there. So these movies will let people get better at their craft and showcase something. And then my argument for you, or to counter you, is you look at the director, look at his IMDb. He was not a good director, and nor did he do anything since. So like that showed that he was never capable. But you can go in, it's like an estate sale. What's of value here? And you can take those things and they go to the next movie. And if you can spot what is talent, art can come from that. But that was not art. What you're doing is that's a testing ground. I mean, there are moments where Paul Rudd and Reese Witherspoon crackle, and then you're off on a tangent, and you're like, "What just happened?" And then Paul Rudd, who's
Crackle? Could you be more specific? I'm not like you're a director first, and what I'm thinking is, what are you looking for when you look at people who are acting as a profession that makes them leap off the screen? Crackle, you know.
there is a couple scenes where you can see that Reese Witherspoon is starting to kind of fall for him. It's going from the, moving from the, tit for tat. And you can watch her roll off of that hard edge, start to soften, and just with little subtle movements and whatnot, you can see that Paul Rudd is not yet acknowledging. And then when she kind of looks away, and then there's like a moment where Paul Rudd, and it's like, you read it. It's all right there. It's like, we've thrown the script out and we're just sitting with the two talented people on screen, and it works until the director clumsily sticks himself back in there. And I love Tom Hanks.
Really appreciated the phrasing there.
I love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd trying to be an animated Tom Hanks over the top flopsy guy is not his best work. But when he tones it down a little bit, he's funny. He's funnier, and you can see in his work now, like how Paul Rudd does comedy is 100% different than was in this. But it's like if you go back and watch Tom Hanks and Bosom Buddies, he's like all over the place because that's like when you don't have
Call
anything.
it bosom buddies.
Yeah, haven't you seen that show?
Bosom buddies, yeah, where they,
Bosom Buddies, isn't it?
I've never heard of it. So I don't know.
because it's the dad from Girls, Hannah's dad on Girls, and
Peter Scolari.
Yeah.
you know his name?
Yeah, Peter
Yes,
Scolari.
I know his name.
Okay,
I know.
Why
him
is that
from Bosom
surprising?
cool.
And the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids TV show.
Well, because when you say
There's a TV show?
bosom buddies, it sounds more like boob. And that's
Which
is what it
men
is.
dressed as women.
I mean, that's kind of what the show is.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But you could watch someone like Tom Hanks go from these early roles into becoming, and like that was kind of Paul Rudd. You go back and there were moments when he wasn't being too big or the plot wasn't so stupid that you're like, I like this guy. Like there's something about him that we can do something with, but you have to trim the fat.
Are you sure this isn't Monday morning quarterbacking or hindsight's 2020?
The reason I picked it is I remember watching it, and I did not like Reese Witherspoon in a lot of her early roles because she was. I like it when I think things like Election or Pleasantville. It's like
those are subversive though.
No, but like part of what makes her great is like it's very difficult to find kind of an authentic connection with like stars in like a quote unquote romantic comedy. That's I know that romantic comedies are kind of now denigrated.
They're coming back though.
Except for we didn't train anybody, and we're not looking for, now we just put, hot people in there that don't have any connection. And so it's like you just
Anyone But You is a fine movie.
I haven't seen it.
Glenn
Powell.
Isn't that with
Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney.
So I rest my case. Glenn Powell literally is just a chiseled person with no.
Bullshit.
I think he's trying to
the
find his
Hitman
place.
shows that he has Paul Rudd chops.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
He has Paul Rudd chops in interviews. You fall in love with him with interviews because he seems like great. If I went out and hung out with him, we would have a blast. In the movies, it doesn't work.
Everybody wants some. Hitman. His Richard Linklater movies, I would say, kind of belie that point. And he had, he's not a movie star yet because he couldn't
be a movie star.
He couldn't open Running Man, which, I'm not sure.
Running Man had other issues than just Glenn Powell.
Yeah, I would blame Edgar Wright for that.
And Edgar Wright's
Twisters.
one of the artists of our time, so it's a bad sign. If
Edgar Wright's been going, I feel like I like his movies, but after Baby Driver's success, he's followed it with two movies that I don't think are like he's trying to go more commercial and he's weird and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I'm just saying Glenn Powell will never be a movie star. It's not possible because
no one will ever be a movie star anymore. Like, is Timmy even a movie star? Because
let's not get started. We'll get way off. Chalamet
Too much.
Jump off a bridge. I don't understand.
We call him Timmy Chardonnay over here.
Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call him. We should just not talk about him. It's not.
So you didn't like Dune, is what I'm hearing.
No.
Or Marty Supreme.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to watch it because I watched the what's the other movie the brother did?
The Smashing Machine. I haven't listened to your episode of that, but I cannot stand that movie because,
it's worse than you could possibly think. It's just
we've seen it.
It's less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, I know. So I want to see Marty Supreme because that has to have more than Smashing Machine.
It does.
It does.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Even though I hate Timmy, I'm gonna watch it because
you're supposed to hate him in the movie.
I didn't like Uncut Gems. It's just like it's a fever dream that I'm just like. See, I also don't like mob movies because I don't like movies where everybody is irredeemable, making horrible decisions that people have to justify. It's just it's not interesting.
Parasite. Sorry, what?
That's not a mob movie.
That's not a mob movie.
No, but my point is that people are irredeemable in that movie because who's the parasite, the lower class or the upper class? They're making the argument that it's the upper class, but I'm not sure that's
definitely
actually
the
the
upper
case.
class.
But that's what's great is you have. There's you don't really know. It's not cut and dry.
Is this a rom-com or is it a road movie?
It's a rom-com.
I don't think. Well, if we're coming back to this,
but a mob movie is very much these guys we're gonna go break these guys' kneecaps because they owe us money, right?
But at the end of the day, do you care if the mob boss dies? If it's something you don't really care. And if you get that invested in these people, then I'm also why are we so invested in these people? Because they're not doing anything great. Not that everything.
You don't like Goodfellas?
Well, I mean, The Godfather. You didn't.
I didn't like that.
Oh,
you don't like The Godfather?
I still haven't seen it. Am I missing
you
something?
and Mrs. Farx. Yes, you are missing something.
I've only seen the first one.
Okay, go ahead off on The Godfather on the overnight delivery.
No. I'm just saying that's not for me. I watch it and I can see the performances. I can see the structure works. It's just which is fine because I like things like comedies and other people are like. I loved The Naked Gun. Not the new one, the old one. It's hilarious, but I understand why people don't like it.
Well, that style of comedy was not in vogue for a long time.
Yeah.
It was very much in vogue in the 80s and 90s, obviously, and now we're kind of...
And I remember when I saw, Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
That was, people had never seen anything like it. So but it hasn't held up. It's not like a Caribou Net that... People will still laugh at it, but it's not...
It holds up. Here's how I know it holds up. Kids. When you show it to kids in the past 10 years, 7-year-old kids still think that's hilarious.
That will always be funny, but what I'm saying is there's a...
Wasn't that the point?
If you have to force it, if it's not naturally found by people, then it's kind of
that has to do with macroeconomic things you can't even control. Don't you feel
the industry is supposed to put stuff out to connect with people. And
No. The richest people in the industry, first of all, are going to Jeffrey Epstein's island. Demonetized. But then, But all they care about profits, and like they invented streaming so they wouldn't have to pay residuals, even though that was a model that was working very well and produced a lot of great movies. And I don't know where I'm supposed to go with it's all getting worse, the enshittification of everything.
I don't know. You sound like you're arguing, but I feel like you're saying the exact same thing I am. So I don't know where the difference is here. Did I convince you? Did I win?
Did I win? Is everything getting worse?
I mean, I'm not cheering for it, but I think you have to identify the problem before you can fix it. So when people keep telling me that there are not problems and that movies are just as good now, they're not. I mean, on our podcast, our love affair with John McTiernan, the director back in the 80s and 90s, when you watch how he directs movies, there's an art form that does not exist in movies today.
Because it's transferred to TV.
No.
There are aspects of what McTiernan did that, have some of the drama is now on like series, and there are good versions like on HBO, not Netflix, of series that are like cinema, your home box office.
They are the only ones that kind of work are limited series where they're not ongoing, because the series that are ongoing become either become soap operas,
loaded,
or they just become like, I'm comfortable, so I want to spend time, but I'm no longer vested in what this is.
No, there's series obviously that's a lot of things. That is not the series that other filmmakers talk about. Like, in my highest aspiration, I think I would want to be a showrunner, not a successful film director. Just genuine.
So what's your top 2 TV series of all time?
Well, like, you don't like The Sopranos offhand.
I've never seen it because I don't
it's some of the greatest storytelling ever.
Yeah.
Although it does stick around too long. But then it was improved upon by Breaking Bad, which doesn't stick around too long. And then they figured out how to make a sequel coming from another angle, covering a similar thing. Well, yeah, the prequel sequel, excuse me.
Better Call Saul?
Yeah.
I mean, Better Call Saul is one of the best TV shows ever.
Yeah.
I mean, that is...
And it's a spin-off.
I think it is superior to Breaking Bad.
And it's cinema.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree television can be cinema when created in a certain way.
You're talking about specifically John McTiernan. And you were saying John McTiernan is on TV,
I'm taking, like, John McTiernan made big movies, but he was never a household name. He was never, like, Breaking Bad.
He directed Die Hard.
Say again?
Didn't McTiernan direct one of the
Predator?
Die Hards?
He did the first and third Die Hard and Predator. The first Predator.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, but if you walked around back then, everybody would say, I like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator.
Because people didn't know who directors were.
They did.
If you were
Steven
a nerd.
Spielberg, you knew. I'm just saying, like, people knew.
That's fair.
He's a brand. Steven Spielberg is a brand.
All the big directors. John McTiernan never. So he was that, that under tier.
He's a craftsman of action.
Craftsman that was really good. But when you watch, because some reason I go back and watch older movies is I see what did they stop doing that we don't do anymore, and why did it or didn't it work? Because some things you're like, yeah, that just now that's weird, or that's slow, or like, I can see why we got away from.
Could you give specific examples so that we're talking about something?
Have you ever seen the movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman?
Yes.
Went back and rewatched that a few years ago, and it just, I liked it when it came out. It's not a perfect movie, but in watching it again, I was like, boy, there is no equivalent to that movie that's made today, because you have Morgan Freeman, that's the cantankerous, I'm going to come in and fix something. And then you go through and it resolves in that works. He fixed something.
That's because men are the problem.
That's all what, so like that tracks now. But what they did back then is they did this, but they gave him a flaw that was never fixed, that you could identify with the people that were fighting with them. At some point you were like, but they're right, and the guy that I'm rooting for is wrong, and it's no longer a debate. He's wrong. And then at the end, he has to admit that he was wrong, but he never changed. And so you watched an imperfect person do something where you were like, it does take more, and it, as opposed to just like, I was born good. I came in, I kicked everyone's ass, and it fixed. And all these people that were in my way were just idiots and didn't know anything.
Well, that would be not. Or there's no arc.
And you're saying
But that is
more
movies
today.
now
Oh,
because
yeah.
everything wants to be done. And this is a movie where, like, I don't know if a lot of people would want to be like, well, he's got a flaw. Like, that's kind of a bad piece. You're like, yeah, because that's what most people are more layered. And we've gotten away from that layered. You either make them like all crazy and layered where it's like there's nothing, or they're almost like, I call them, like, the best examples are all biopics are just Jesus Christ stories. They were born, they were perfect, and they conquered, and there was nothing in between. And I hate all biopics because there's absolutely nothing of interest in them. Because it's like, I'm Michael Jackson, I came out fully formed, and I'm perfect.
I'm sure that movie will do.
What
great.
about Walk Hard?
Walk Hard is a
the
parody.
Dewey
of
Cox
Walk
movie.
Hard, yeah.
I mean, it's a different movie.
Yes.
I mean, you watch, any of those. I mean, it's what's the one from the Queen?
Bohemian Rhapsody that
Oh,
that
God.
had a bunch of problems for other reasons, but
I'm just saying, like that like that's what. So like, we used to get into the weeds and make it work, and it was interesting. Now it's just like paint by numbers. I mean, my favorite scene from Die Hard. This happens all the time. So the FBI is going to come in and raid. So it's I'm going to arm up. We're all getting ready. They're all getting ready. And the smash is going to come. And what happens now is you get 4 shots here, 4 shots there. Action, because we want a dopamine hit. What they do in Die Hard is the weird Chinese guy looks at the candy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's looking around. He starts eating candy. And you're like, that is how, like, that humanizes everything. And everyone's like, yeah, I mean, Reese's Pieces looks pretty good.
Yeah.
There's something that's supposed. You take a moment to breathe and inject humanity into that portion, which we never do. We just cut to action, cut to action, cut to action, cut to action, and without those little human moments or the little interchanges. And you can make the interchanges if you want to say you want the dopamine hit. When they first invaded, and you got the brothers, and the one brother's trying to undo things and connect it so we don't set off any alarms. The other brother's like, F that, grabs a chainsaw and goes, that's high action. But in that scene, you understand the difference of the brothers, you understand the front, and you're like, oh, these people, okay, I'm in on this. And it's nowadays you just have the guy come in, zip it off, or they would click something and it's off. That you wouldn't build that tension in the moment because that takes too much time and too much
It's too
expertise.
long. It takes too long.
I could find examples, I'm sure. I'm going to try and pivot, which we're going to debate about the merits of pivoting with my brothers later. But is Reese Witherspoon an interesting character in Overnight Delivery?
No.
Now
I don't think Paul Rudd's character is interesting either. He's just like a hopeless romantic, but he's also like horny all the
Not a
time.
hopeless romantic.
What is actually
He thinks he's in
interesting is I
love.
think back in the day when I first saw it, he was, in my mind, more of like a hopeless romantic, or like there was something about like an honor to it. And now I watch him like he's just a dumbass.
He's
And
a jerk,
horny all the
too.
time, yeah.
He's willing to do something completely stupid to try it like that. Don't do that, brother. Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not. But what I'm saying is there were moments where you could see that like if I was a betting person and you could bet on actors, when I saw this movie, I would have put money on both of them as being.
They're
like,
called prediction markets, and they should be legalized across the entire country, and no state should be allowed to regulate.
All right.
I'm
I
just
don't
saying
believe
that.
that.
Back in '98, I would have bet heavily on those two, and I would have been paid off because I could have spotted it right there. And so you're seeing like that. Like it's fun to go back and watch early work of somebody that now you can see. And now that's like a puzzle piece of like, where did Paul Rudd go? Because like you look at him in that versus Clueless. Like Clueless, he's great, but he's very like
He's a jerk.
But he's like he
redeems himself.
He's more like a cardboard. Like, you know, there's not a lot to him. This is way overplayed over here, but then he kind of settles into his shtick as he ages into what he's become now. That's now interesting because I know what he's become, and you get to see that little like history bit. But from this being tied to the Midwest, tracking that the movie doesn't work partially because of the script, a lot to do with the director, and knowing that that didn't go anywhere. But the people that I look at and go, there's something there, you watch and all of those go up over here. So it's fun to go back and be like, oh, cool. So that's how that works. Because especially being from the Midwest, we're throwing darts. You're casting people you don't know. So you got to work on like, What can I, if I'm looking at someone else's film, I know I want to bring them into my film. Do I trust you as a director? Do I trust you as a writer? Am I seeing something in your acting that can not just be good here, but can it go? Could you be picked up somewhere else so that 5 years down, remember when I worked with Reese Witherspoon first because I saw something, now she's big, someone comes back and watches my so-so movie that I made 10 years ago and go, oh, so you spotted that. Now I trust you because you cast her before she became something. And that's kind of, as a producer, again, you're reading the tea leaves. If someone gives me, here's my last 4 films and they cast it really well and some of those people went off, I'm like, I trust when you cast somebody. But if they cast all the same people and they're all terrible and never went anywhere, if they don't have a reason why not, then you're like, oh, well, maybe I don't trust you casting that. So, it goes into that. So this is like, we get the nice revisionist history of looking back at something and picking apart, what it looks like now.
What is Paul Rudd today?
He's probably 2 steps below Keanu Reeves as an American treasure.
2 steps below Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is the new Betty White. We must save him at all costs. Paul Rudd is not quite at that level, but he's everybody loves Paul Rudd, except for you, because this is
Well, no, I was gonna figure out how to go. I didn't hate Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania that much, but everyone else apparently did.
I didn't see that one, but I did like Ant-Man. Paul Rudd is unbelievably charming, and he's a good actor, and he doesn't age, so he's a new Dick Clark for our generation. And you're like, what sort of voodoo are you doing to never age?
To be fair, they don't hate Paul Rudd in Ant-Man 3. They hate that Kang the Conqueror was defeated by a bunch of ants. That's the main problem of Ant-Man 3.
You didn't say spoiler. You just literally just outed that without regard for anybody.
You're not gonna watch it. You're probably not gonna like the movie.
Why? Because I'm such a negative Nancy.
No, I think you
because
have
Kang
real
gets
high
killed by
standards.
ants, and
Well, now there's no reason. So
yeah, if I know the end of a movie, I don't have to see it.
Yeah, so let's talk about the end of this movie, Overnight Drive, in our spoilers. See you there.
I knew you were doing that.
Yeah, I was waiting for a perfect
Kirk's
moment.
like, get the
Thank you for listening. For more JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.